It was a totally different time and age, and I didn't hate where I grew up, but I wanted to see what else was out there. Like, I had heard from people that had traveled what was out there and what there was to see, and I would go out on this rock and I would sit and I would lean back on the rock and I would watch the clouds go by, just like they are now, and I would think about what life would be when I left this town and went to explore the world. Let's take a walk together and chat, and hopefully I don't trip or fall or get myself lost out here in the woods. I am in the Lapland region of Finland, and it's gorgeous. Let's just do our own version of a 360 right now. Isn't this cool? It's starting to get a little cold. The bugs are getting to me, but I have to talk to you about something. So we get this question often of, who is a world towner? What is it that makes someone so special that they're able to become a world towner when maybe others are not? Are they rich? Are they highly educated? Did they come from a certain country? And basically the answer is none of the above. Our clients who are currently world towning make as little as $15,000 a year, up to, we have clients who are multimillionaires. Some have strong faith, some have none. They come from all over the world. Their skin's all different color. They speak different languages. The one thing that they do have that is consistent, that we have determined through chatting with everyone, not through any type of survey, is had somewhat of a unique or eclectic childhood. That can mean a variety of things. It can mean eclectic. It could mean tragic. It could mean tough. It could mean a lot of things. But one thing it does mean is that they did not have this kind of typical childhood that most people in the country that they grew up in had. Personally, I find this fascinating. Most of them had to fight through fears. Most of them did not grow up in homes where there's a lot of money, but there was a lot of love. They learned how to be scrappy from a young age. They learned how to be different from other people, and they learned to embrace that and love it. And it's not an easy life. It's a wonderful life, and I would not change a thing, but it's hard. And I think you have to often come from a background where you learn to develop these skills from a very young age. So today I want to share with you my childhood. We were recently in Maine, where I grew up, and I am one of those people. We're gonna go way downhill here, guys, so if I fall, it'll be funny to put on the vlog, won't it? I had a very, very eclectic childhood. I grew up in rural Maine, a town with a population of 5,000 people. This is our fire department. Everyone's volunteer at the fire department? Yes. My parents were high school sweethearts. They've been together since my mom was, I think, 14 and my dad was 15. And how many fire engines? 2? Maybe 2. 2. Mom's the spokesmodel for J Maine today. Okay, today I am taking you guys on a journey to where I grew up in Maine. And I'm doing it alone. Will is not with me. I'm really nervous, so I need thumbs up. Everyone give me a thumbs up so that I'm not scared to do this without him again. My dad bought his first business when he was in high school, and then my mom joined him, and shortly after they graduated from high school, they got married. A couple of years later they had me, a couple of years later they had my sister. It's just me, well, mom, dad, and the kids, and me. And I'm gonna take you to the house I grew up in, where I had jobs, where I used to hang out with girlfriends, the dance club I used to go to, and probably a bunch of other things. Maybe we'll interview some family members. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because you guys have commented and sent emails and asked us questions about what did our childhood look like, where did we grow up, and how did all this contribute to us becoming world towners. So today I'm going to explain all of that. Wow, there's a lot of flags. Does the town put those out, or is that? They put them up for Memorial Day, and they'll keep them through because then we're going to be 4th of July. Oh, I thought the families put them up. That's pretty cool. Yep. Welcome to J Maine, a population. Well, when I grew up here, The population was 5,000, but we're gonna head over to the town office and see what it is currently. I think it's gone down a bit. And I promise it's usually nicer than this, but rain doesn't stop us, you know. Oh wow, that pole is right in the middle of my face. We are gonna take this town by storm, literally by storm, because it is crappy weather today, but that doesn't stop us. We go out in anything, and since I'm only here for one day, I need to make the most of it. There are a lot of great things about growing up in a small town, and a lot of not so great things. But one of the things I really love is that you go into the town office and it's what, one room, Mom? No, it's a big room. No, one room. You can get your business done really quick. There's no waiting in line. From someone who lived in Los Angeles, New York, and Boston, I've waited in long lines before. I actually have a question. What's the population here?
Almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000, so it hasn't changed too much since I grew up here. All right, thank you. We're dropping Dad off to go play with his brother. Have fun. Bye. Be careful.
Keep videoing it.
Dad, don't climb any trees or don't play with BB guns. Have fun. I was exposed to all different kinds of people. Because my parents' first business was an apple orchard, there were young boys that would come and harvest the apple crops and would spend the night at our house on the weekend. And my parents, when they built their first house, they had no money for furniture, so all they got a big discounted deal on a bunch of beanbags. So I would wake up Saturday morning and there'd be, 20 boys in our living room. I was little, it was so exciting. 18-year-old boys, they had all kinds of adventure, and I was, 6. It might be hard to tell because it's raining, sorry guys. And it's seen its better days. It's not in the condition it was in when I was growing up, is where I spent a good part of my childhood, and the parts of my childhood that contributed to the most to who I am today and the way I live my life happened right in there. So this barn was an apple barn, and my dad and his brother and both of their wives owned an apple orchard together. And it's not a working apple farm anymore. The building, is very different than when I grew up. But I actually spent so much time here. So when my dad was in high school, him and his brother, yeah, he was in high school. He was still, I'm trying to walk around the barn so you guys can see it in the back, but there's a lot of mud puddles. When he was I think he was 17 years old, he bought an apple orchard, owner financed by this old dude, him and his brother, and that was his first business. And it's all locked up now, so I can't get in here. But what would happen is, from the age of 8, I started working in the apple barn on the packing machine. And when I was little, I used to take the bus right up this road here, and I would get off the school bus around 3 o'clock, and I would come here during apple season, and I was so little that they would put me on an apple box, and I would belly up to the apple packing machine with all the ladies that worked here, and I would pack apples. So a lot of gossiping, a lot of donuts, a lot of hot chocolate. Big 18-wheeler trucks would come and park on the side over here. Truckers from all over the US, and they would fill them up with apples, and then they'd ship their apples all over the US. So I think that this part of my life, it had an impact on me knowing that I could kind of create my own way in life, and I didn't have to do what everyone else was doing. And I loved working. I loved being part of something from a very young age, and I think that has had a huge impact on the choices that I've made in my life. So I'm not gonna get all cryy here right in the beginning, but this is the apple orchard part of my life. And my aunt happens to live right next door. And what you guys are going to learn throughout this tour is that almost all my relatives on my dad's side live on this road. So you go up this road and you'll see Trask, which is my maiden name, mailbox, Trask mailbox, Trask mailbox, Trask mailbox. It was really great growing up, having cousins and family so nearby. And now as we travel, I really miss that part of our life. But we swapped it for travel, so we come back to visit, which is really cool. How are you I'm so excited to see you.
You too.
I was videoing the barn and it smiled at me.
It did. Oh, good.
I got a
Twitter didn't fall on you.
I got a little weepy. So if you guys think that you were totally screwing us up, being in the apple orchard with all the people, apple barn with all the people swearing and all the ladies gossiping, we're totally screwed up. But I did get a little emotional. I feel. I said to Mom, I said,
We're realistic.
I'm in charge of video and visiting Jay, and I'm not very good at it. Will's much better at it than me. So do you have to have this kind of eclectic childhood to become a world towner? No, but it does take a lot of learning and searching through the internet and all this kind of stuff to get the logistics together. So that's why Will and I decided to create our class and actually consult with people, because the reality is we want more of you guys out here traveling with us. So we're gonna do a shameless plug. Watch the video that's coming up. It's just gonna take a minute and maybe you'll join our class. We'd love to have you. Before we started WorldTowning, we were typical 9-to-5ers, or more like 9 to 7 or 6 days a week. Overscheduled, overextended, but we weren't unhappy.
Right, we thought that that's the way that life should be and that we shouldn't question it.
Our life was not bad. We just wanted to see the world and spend more time with our kids. But what we got out of it was a deeper understanding of ourselves, a more authentic existence, and a level of happiness not imaginable.
There were challenges in the entire planning process.
How do you get from idea to launching to your world town?
Right, how do you set up your housing,
Medical,
your education,
visas.
your technology?
We wanted to give up 100 times.
Right, and there every moment we're asking, how bad do we want to do this?
Bad.
So we've set up WorldTowning University to help you get to where we are right now.
Do you need to sell a house? Are you confused about how to educate your kids while traveling? We're gonna go over that and more in the class.
We're on our 4th year of full-time travel and we absolutely love it.
We started out in Central America, then South America, then the south of France, and now we're RVing Europe. Our goal is to bring your travel dream to fruition through WorldTowning University, working with experienced travelers.
And our next session starts real soon, guys.
Space is limited because we like to keep the classes small and intimate, so sign up now. Does anyone use this old driveway?
This one?
Yeah, up to
Yeah.
the house. They do?
Well, not up to our, well, I don't know if the new owners do it.
Now, when you grow up in a small town, your parents don't drop you off at school, you don't take public transportation, you take the bus, which is not completely unusual. However, when you grow up in a really small town, you often have to walk to the bus and then take the bus to school. So I'm gonna show you right here. I lived all the way down this road, and I'm not gonna take you down there now because someone else lives there. My parents built the house with their own hands. It was an awesome house up on a hill overlooking the valley, and then the house is on the other side of the hill. So that is back there. Now I would walk from there this way, a 1/4 of a mile down a dirt road to catch the school bus. Now, Maine is cold in the winter, and a 1/4 of a mile is a long way to walk when you're young, a bit lazy, carrying books, and it's like 6:30 in the morning. However, I had the best view and the best walk to school because I had apple orchards all around me. Now, since the house has been sold, the new owners are not using the orchard, so they're just kind of, the trees are just, I don't know, you know, doing what they would naturally do if they weren't pruned and sprayed. But this was my walk to school. Look at this. And imagine these apple trees in full bloom. You can see a little bit of the blooming still left over on those trees. In full bloom, they're white with a dash of pink. They smell absolutely fabulous. And here we go. I'm not gonna take you guys with me the whole walk, but I would walk this entire thing with my sister every single Monday through Friday on our way to school. By the time I turned 15 and could actually drive, not just get my permit, but I could actually drive at 15, I bought my own car, and I never walked down this driveway again to catch the school bus. I hated the school bus. There was this guy on there named Dwayne. Dwayne P, I'll call him, who used to bully me and torture me. I could not stand taking the school bus. So as soon as I got my license, that was it. I bought a car, I bought insurance, I kept my job, I drove to school, and my younger sister got to benefit from all of this. It was truly an eclectic childhood. And is this still taping? It has given me so much strength in my adult life to create my own path, and not worry about what others think, and not care what the neighbors think, and really share that philosophy and way of life with my children. I'm sure many of you that didn't grow up in small towns are thinking, well, what does a child think about and dream about in a place like this? Do they know there are other options out there? Do they not know? For me, we had 2 TV stations, I think actually 3 channels on our TV, no cable TV. It was a totally different time and age, and I didn't hate where I grew up, but I wanted to see what else was out there. Like, I had heard from people that had traveled what was out there and what there was to see, and I would go out on this rock and I would sit and I would lean back on the rock and I would watch the clouds go by, just like they are now, and I would think about what life would be when I left this town and went to explore the world. And it wasn't until I was 19 that I did a study abroad program that my eyes were just open, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Now, many pieces of my childhood contributed, I think, to me being willing and, you know, not afraid to kind of go out and explore the world. Now, I would say my parents were definitely more kind of the eclectic parents. And, you know, I think as a teenager, I didn't really appreciate it as much as I do now. It's the same thing with growing up in a small town. I had a lot of independence. My parents were not helicopter parents, not even close to it. And because of that, I was fearless, and I got to try a lot of things that people my age didn't get to try, which taught me very early on in life that 1, I could take care of myself, and 2, that I could make anything happen if I could dream it. And I watched my parents do that. Also, one of the things I really enjoyed about growing up in a small town, outside of the way I was raised and my parents, because that could have happened anywhere in the world, just take these parents and put them in this city or this town or on this continent. But growing up in a small town gave me a sense of security and community that I don't know if I would have had I grown up elsewhere, maybe in a big city or in a different country. Every place has these, but I have that kind of small hometown approach to life even now. I mean, look at WorldTowning, you know, changing and living the world one hometown at a time. I feel you guys have seen how we live our life and how we parent and how we travel and how we vlog, and it's all kind of with this premise of creating community and getting to know people, and that really happens profoundly in a small town. You get to know everyone. So from a very young age, I was exposed to different ways of life, different ways of thinking, different types of people, and it just grew from there. My parents opened other businesses. They got into real estate. They owned a dance club at one point, which was really fun. I got to work there and learn a lot about the entertainment industry, and also know that I never want to own a dance club or bar. So back during my teenage years, I waitressed, I worked in the apple barn, and I also worked here at the time it was called the Silver Fox. It was a dance club that my parents owned, and I worked behind the bar selling drinks, selling candies. I let people in through the entrance. When I was really bad and my parents wanted to punish me, they'd make me go pick cigarette butts out of the urinals. It was quite disgusting. It might explain why I didn't drink for a very long time in my life. But if you Google this place now, you're gonna find out that it is currently, my parents sold it, and the person who bought it turned it into a gentleman's club. So I'm just gonna tell you that because I don't want anyone Googling this and saying, yeah, Jessica from WorldTowning, she used to work at a strip joint. So anyway, another trip down memory lane. Like I said, I had a really eclectic childhood, which is probably a huge factor in how I ended up living a very eclectic life. We're experiencing something right now that we never experienced in Jay. Traffic. There's some construction or something going on here. And I'm surprised Mom hasn't started honking her horn because she's not used to being in traffic.
Now I can
Let's
see
honk our horn, Mom. Let's honk our
I
horn.
can see the construction stuff up there, so. But they should have it closed up by now.
There's got to be a way
It's
around.
7
Go
o'clock.
through McDonald's. So this is what we do in Maine.
It's not
Like,
going to do any good. It's beyond McDonald's.
they worked so hard, my parents. I don't know, I'm getting so emotional. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. To give my sister and I what they thought. Okay, I have to stop crying. To give my sister and I what they thought was a better life than what they had. The opportunity to go to university. The opportunity to have a lot more choices than what they had in life. And they gave us all that. And I'm grateful for it. The greatest gift that they gave us, besides loving us, was showing us that it's okay to be different. It was okay to not be like all the other families. We were the different family. My friends, their parents would do groceries every Saturday and they would have a full fridge of stuff. We would do them like every couple of days at the local convenience store. We didn't have any money. They did the best they could. We were always fed well, but we were kind of scrappy. And our house wasn't the cleanest house on the block. It wasn't dirty, but it was lived in. And when they weren't working, they were spending time with us and maintaining the house and keeping up with the Joneses and how all the neighbors looked and caring what the neighbors thought was not a part of their life. And at the time, as a young kid, I thought, we're so weird. We're the weird family. Why can't we be like everyone else? Shortly after, when I went to college, I realized how lucky I was. How they showed my sister and I a path where we could be ourselves, where we could live how we wanted to live, and we didn't need to live like everyone else. And I think that's such a great lesson. It's such a great lesson. And I thank them for that. I thank you, Mom and Dad. I really, really do. I could not live this life if I didn't have the childhood I had. And I know that deep in my heart. I really am so grateful. So there you have it. An eclectic childhood is the key to becoming a World Towner successfully. I'm just kidding. It's just one of the elements. And if you don't come from an eclectic childhood, don't worry, you're not doomed. You can still do this if you've got the drive, the energy, the grit, and the determination. So thank you guys for watching. I hope I didn't screw it up too much. I'm so new to doing this all by myself without Will and with barely the kids on the kind of junky camera, but I hope to do it again, and I hope to improve. Bye guys. Give it a thumbs up.
In the next episode of WorldTowning, we unfortunately say goodbye to the United States, but we prepare for the start of our multi-day hike on the Camino Lepuy.
Are we there yet, Largo? How much longer?
So walking towards our first hostel, albergue, hotel. I don't know what you call these. They're essentially, some people call them pensions.
If you're enjoying the vlog, make sure to give this a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button because we have a lot more coming.
Why are we here? Does anyone have any idea why we're at McDonald's? This was the only restaurant in the town when I was growing up. We would come here after sporting events, sometimes to hang out with my girlfriends on a Friday or Saturday night. Actually, I had friends that worked here, so we would come to pick them up after work. It was a big deal to have McDonald's in our town because our town was very, very small.